What's up guys, ViperFPV here, and today we have the Armattan Marmotte. It's pretty much going over all the little details of the Marmont, all the things I like about it, and if there's anything I dislike about it, I'll tell you about it right now. Stay tuned to the end where we'll go ahead and build this, kind of show you guys how to put this thing together. And so we'll go ahead and get right to it. So this is the Armattan Marmotte, the brand new Armattan frame, and pretty much it's a successor to the Armattan Chameleon TI right here, which I have right here, and then also mainly the Armattan Rooster, which was last year's quad frame that they released. So what we pretty much have here, now it's stuck with the same titanium front end like we have on the Marmont, and we also had on the Rooster and also on the Chameleon TI. The Chameleon TI was mostly, people didn't really care for the removable arms, and people didn't really like the slack in the arms that it sometimes did have, maybe in a really hard crash. So they went ahead and took the bottom plate design from the original Chameleon and pretty much just put the titanium front end to it, and that's where the Chameleon TI came in. So now we have the next iteration of the Armattan Marmotte here, and one of the biggest gripes about the Chameleon TI and the Rooster was that the GoPro mount, like on the original Chameleon, you were able to actually adjust your camera angle on the GoPro. So you can do 30, 40 degrees, and you couldn't do that with the Rooster and the Chameleon TI because the titanium was pretty much fixed. So the only way that, and also another thing too, is that you were pretty much limited to about a 20 to 25 degree camera angle. So a lot of people who like to do like a flat camera angle for freestyle, they couldn't really do it with the Chameleon TI or the Rooster. Now, they improved on this on the Marmont. What they actually did is they made this whole top actually adjustable. So now you can go all the way up, and then you have more camera tilt inside, or you can go ahead and go flat, and then you can pretty much point your camera straight flat. So that's really, really neat. Another big thing on this is that they use totally different carbon fiber. You can tell just by looking at it. This carbon fiber is some type of space grade recycled carbon fiber that Armattan got an exclusive deal to for a little bit. And I'm gonna tell you, I can really kind of crank on this thing, and it doesn't really bend at all. This stuff is gonna be pretty strong. And another little neat feature I really love about this is how they have this back. Now, your SMA will come out of the back right there, and it's totally protected from rear impacts. So you're not going to rip off your SMA antenna. The worst thing that'll happen is you'll break your antenna, or it'll bend up or bend down, whatever it is. But I'm really impressed with this little guy here, and really like it. Like the style. I like how just shiny it looks, that checkerboard. I did like the bigger checkerboard look. They actually settled with the smaller one, but I do like it still. It's really neat, and then actually the checkerboard is all over this thing. It's on the top plate, bottom plate, so all that carbon fiber is all over this frame. Another thing I'm really digging about the Armattan Marmotte is that on the Chameleon TI and the Rooster, let me put this to side, when you put like a 1500 battery, 1300 just barely fit, but you can see here with the GoPro mount, it pretty much always hung off the end, which really kind of sucked. You know, that's how it always had. Now with the Marmont, look how much room we have on the top. So even if you take this thing, put it all the way up as high as you can, look at all that room. We have a good, you can probably even fit, so figure the GoPro mount will kind of stick out here. You probably have quite a bit of room, and it could fit a 1500 battery really nicely. So, and if you even make this even flatter, and you have a GoPro mount, you can probably even fit maybe a 1800, maybe a 2000, depending on how long it is. But that's a really neat little thing that I really do like about this frame. Another thing too is when you purchase this thing, you're pretty much getting everything, and it even comes with a little file. And what this file is for is for your battery straps. So you put your battery straps, around here, around the top plate, and since the carbon fiber is kind of sharp here, you can go ahead and file down those sharp edges and keep it from destroying your battery straps. Now, let's go ahead and do some measurements. I know a lot of people actually are curious of what kind of measurements everything is. So let's go ahead and see how thick these arms are. So the arms are only 4 millimeters thick, and then the top plate's probably, what, 2? See if I can get a spot here where it's, yeah, 2 millimeters thick on the arms. And then this is probably 1 or 2. That's actually 1. And I'll tell you guys how tall the stack is here. Go ahead and put this in there so you guys can see it. Looks like we're at about 20 millimeters on these. A little shy of 20, but my calipers might be off a little bit. So 20 millimeters you can say inside there. So that's really, really cool. I think that's a little shorter, actually, than the Rooster or the Chameleon TI. Maybe, maybe not. And another little neat feature they have on the Armattan Marmotte is now they have 20 by 20 mounting holes, and they also have 30 by 30. And then they also have, you can see, you can mount like a 20 by 20 back here, a 30 by 30 over here. So you can have some options here on how you want to mount your VTX, your flight controller, ESCs, if you want to go real tiny, because 20 by 20s are becoming real popular, and I can see them getting even more popular in the future year because they're lighter. They sometimes even supply just as much amperage as the bigger ones. So that's a really cool thing. So let's go ahead and do a weight and see how much this thing weighs. And let's see what we got here. Looks like 120 grams is what my scale is reading. So it's not the lightest freestyle frame. Definitely isn't. But it's definitely not, it's definitely a tank when it comes to frontal impacts and really anything on this. I think that you can throw anything at this thing and it will take it. And what's really exciting about Armattan is that it does come with that lifetime warranty. So say you do smash this thing, run it over with a car. Say you intentionally just break it. You want to see how, just go ahead and file a claim with Armattan, and they'll pretty much get taken care of. I mean, I think you can pay like $5 shipping for a new bottom plate, and I bet you these bottom plates are not cheap. So, and pretty much everything is covered. So if you smash this front end, this titanium front end, go ahead and email Armattan support, and they'll go ahead and send you another piece or whatever is broken, and they'll get that into the mail for you. So that's what I really do like about Armattan. That's why I have so many Armattan frames. I had the original Chameleon, which actually sold off over a year ago. I wish I never did sell it because I did really like it. And I had the Rooster and I had the Chameleon TI. So this is all about the Armattan Marmotte. And what we're going to do is I'm going to be doing a build on the channel on this thing. I have some parts. I'm waiting on them to come in. And once I get those things in, we'll start the build. And it'll be definitely some cool components I picked out. I did pick out the Radix flight controller, which I already have it. And then I have some of those, I can't remember the name of them, the iFlight motors. Yeah, those are kind of, a lot of people are liking how they're styled, so I got those. And yeah, so stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and do a build video right after this to show you guys how to put this whole thing back all together. And yeah, so here it comes. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and assemble the Armattan Marmotte. Little big tip, everything comes like little baggies and everything, so just kind of take it all out and separate it, all the same screws, nuts, and whatnot. So what you want to go ahead and do, start off with, don't want to drag this video out, is start off with the camera cage. And as you see right here, I already started, it's still loose because I didn't tighten it up all the way, is you want to put the camera savers in there before you put the standoff on, and then screw that M3 by 8 millimeter screw into there, and it'll hold that camera saver in there, and do the same thing on the other side. And don't really tighten it up much until you go ahead and put the top carbon fiber piece on. And then once we get that, we'll go ahead and put that like so. And then on the top, you want to go ahead and do some of the M3 by 4 millimeter screws, which is the actually short little tiny ones we got. So little tiny shortest screws you got in there. Besides, I think there's these ones it comes with. That's not the right one. It's the shorter M3 screws. So let's get 4 of those. and then you can go ahead and screw those onto the top right here. Once this is all tightened up on the top, you can go ahead and you can tighten these screws down here. Now we're going to go ahead and mount the front, I guess anchors or whatever you want to call these, from the for the camera cage onto the front. And they pretty much just slide into place like so. And then we're going to go ahead and get two of the M3x8 screws, drop those into there, and then tighten those up. But we're going to leave them a little loose, just so we can make sure that the front cage lines up correctly. And then what you're going to go ahead and want is the M3x6mm screws. So they're not the short little screws. Those are the M4s. You want these screws here, which are going to be the M3x6. And then we're going to go ahead and mount this to the front, like so. And there's 3 screws that go into this on each side. So we're going to go ahead and, I have it the wrong way. And we're going to go ahead and mount those in there. So a tip I would say, you can put on your bit, line up where you want it. I mean, it's not going to be exact. I'm just going to kind of put it like almost flat. And then you can kind of come in here on the side. And then you can start screwing it in. Just make sure, if you feel a lot of resistance, stop. It means you're going to cross-thread it. So just don't do that. All the screws are in. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is tighten up those bottom bolts. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is get the back little standoffs. I mean, these, I guess these aren't standoffs, these are like back things that go on the back. But what it does is it goes kind of like this, where it sticks out, and it protects your VTX SMA connection. So we're going to go ahead and put those on. And for this, we're going to pretty much use the M3 by the 8mm as well. So that's going to be the little longer ones. Same ones you used here. So once you get those all down in there, we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, the next step is we're going to do the VTX. Now this is going to depend on what you're going to use. Like I know I'm going to use a TBS Unify that has like the two little screw holes there. So I'm going to be mounting that in there just like this. If you're using like some other type of VTX with an SMA connection, then what you go ahead and do will come with these rubber grommets. Put the rubber grommet inside the little carbon fiber piece here. And this is kind of a pain in the butt, so I'm not going to really do it because I'm not going to bother doing it. See if I can get it see if I can get the first shot. Oh, I actually did. All right, never mind. I did it. So then what we're going to go ahead and do on one side, and you want to go ahead and mount this on there, and you'll use your 2 screws here. Where are they? M3x4s. These 2 right here, the small little screws, and you just mount it in there. And these little O-rings will kind of go on the ends each side and kind of compress down on the SMA and kind of give it a nice sturdy connection right there. So it has a nice mount and it has a little wobble. But I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to use the TBS Unify mount, which is nice. It came with it. And I'm going to mount that right into here. And like I said, I'm going to be using 2 of these screws, the tiniest screws you got. After you get that all mounted up, it does come with this piece here. Now I'm using Crossfire, so I'm not going to use this. But how to use this comes with these little chrome, not really sure what they call these things. Little scrub screw. They pop in the bottom. These are pretty much a carryover from the Gecko. That's how I know how to do it. Pop them in there, and then on your top plate. So then what you do is you mount it underneath, like so, and then you put your 2 screws right there, and then your antennas can come right off the top to the back. Like, I'm using Crossfire, so I'm not going to use this piece. But it's pretty simple. Since we're at this part right now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is it comes with a battery pad. Alright, and then you're going to go ahead and get your battery pad, take all the little foamies out of it, and then you can go ahead and put it onto your top plate, and just kind of eyeball it and make sure it's lined up. Kind of just do one side, and you can kind of just get it lined up perfectly. That's pretty good. I can live with that. So then just kind of push that down. It's good. Also comes with this little foam pad here. You can go ahead and put that right there. And then it sticks right there. I'm going to use a GoPro mount on top of here, so I'm not going to put that on. What I'm going to do is take the top plate. And then what you're going to go ahead and use for the top screws is the M3x6, which will be not the longer screws that you had. I think you should have like one left over maybe. Or not the shorter screws, but like that size. I'm not sure if you can really tell. And then you just put them in the top, screw them down. Alright, after you get your top plate on, flip it over, get little wishbones. Now some people like to use these. I like to use them. I don't think they're that bad. You just kind of put them on the arms. And that is pretty much how you build it. That's pretty much everything. It does come with some standoffs for your stack that you can put in there. That's what these long screws are for. These are for your stack screws, which a lot of stacks nowadays come with longer screws or screws themselves, so you may need them, you might not. But you will have some extra little things laying over. These are for, these little screws here are going to be for your, what's it called, your camera to mount in here. And then they have some extra screws, like any type, you get a frame, like you have extra one of these too, laying around, even though you put 2 in the other thing. But that's pretty much the entire assembly of the Armattan Marmotte. If you haven't already, subscribe, give this video a like if this thing helped you out, and I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.